Jacob Cornell,
And I'm Brandon Neal.
and this is Cashin with the Kids.
So today we have a special guest, Andy Dowdell. He is a legend here at Walsh University, and he got a day off from work, so he decided to stop in and join the Freedom Wealth audio experience today. How you doing, Andy?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me on today.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And for that great intro.
Yeah. So, like I said, Andy graduated here in the spring, and he's since then been looking for a job in the field that he was studying, and we're going to kind of turn it over to him and see how that search has been going.
Yeah, I mean it's a long process,
Yeah.
to say the least. But you know that going
Yeah.
in, I mean graduating and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long process and it's going to be strenuous at points. And it's just important to stay motivated throughout all of it. Don't
Yeah.
get discouraged from it. And you just gotta stick with it for the time being. That's where I'm at right now.
Sure.
So when you graduated, what was the process, or like who were you contacting? How many people did you contact? Because I know a lot of people that I actually have talked to that ended up actually getting jobs.
Yeah.
Like they didn't apply to nearly as many places as they should have,
No, for
and their
sure.
opportunities could have been better. So I'd like to maybe hear from you, even though I know you said you don't have like the career path that you want fully yet. How you're setting yourself up to like achieve like the ultimate goal of this is the career path I want to be in. So like how many places did you apply? Where did you apply?
Right. And that's a good point you made, saying how people most likely don't do the amount of the right amount of preparation while they're in school to once they graduate and everything. And I'm in that same boat, I guess. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, so to speak, as long as you keep the right mindset. But yeah, right away. I mean, I had a great internship with Akron Police Department for my final semester, and I did a lot of networking there and everything. And then right after I graduated, that's when I started doing my applications, which is probably a little late than
A little bit.
what you want.
Maybe a little bit.
I mean, because we were in season for track and everything, and I was
It's
dealing with that internship and everything. So, I'd put in those applications in right away. And for me, I guess at the start of the summer, I might have been too particular
Okay.
in what I wanted to apply for.
Yeah.
And because my ultimate goal is always federal level agencies, which are very difficult to get into. And I put in like 5 or 6 applications within like the first month, which isn't too much.
Yeah.
But trying to find the right spot and everything, what you want to do, that's all that's available, especially with how fast the applications can disappear too. Like they'll go up on a Monday. My friend will text me, "Hey, look at this job," and I remember this the first time happening. He's like, "Secret Service position just opened up." I was like, "All right, I'll tweak my resume a little bit." And I went to go like 2 days after that, and the job posting was already down because it filled up over 1,000 applicants in 2 days.
That's insane.
So yeah, you can't really sit on there. You can't hide behind time there. You gotta get on those applications. And since then, you get the routine of checking the job postings after work every day and everything, see what's new. Just keep putting in new applications as best as I can.
How have you been able to kind of tweak what you're looking for to put yourself in a better position to actually find a job?
So the big thing is go through all these websites that for the careers that you're looking for, the jobs that you're applying, and they all have different, right, obviously.
Yeah.
They all have little...
Tip of the day, apply to places that you want to work at.
Yes. I'd say that's a good lesson to live by there. So you go through and see what different tweaks they are. Some want like PDF format stuff and everything.
Yeah.
Others like Word document won't even like upload with them. And you just got to make like minor adjustments to what courses you took throughout your time at school and everything. They highlight the ones that would be most relevant, obviously.
Yeah.
There's no point in having your religion class that you took.
They don't care about that?
Yeah,
right.
really?
I paid good money for that class.
No kidding. Yeah. Exactly. So there's no point to have that class on there. So you want to highlight, put those up front towards the top of the resume, because a lot of times if they're looking through there, if if they don't even see that you have the relevant coursework, then they're not even going to bother with their time.
Yeah.
And that being said, too, a lot of stuff is going through like ZipRecruiter and these online resume scanners and everything that a human doesn't even see the resume. So you got to be sure you get these, these hot topic words that they're looking for and everything on your resume. So there's little adjustments you got to make with each application. And just be sure you're doing the right ones.
For sure. So you said you were looking at federal positions previously. Are you looking more local now, or?
Yeah, so there's definitely a change of mindset once. And I mean, I knew this. I have backup plans and everything once I graduate and everything. I'm still obviously applying to those jobs. But the thing with those is that they can take up to 8 months to a year to process those applications for the federal level agencies.
Wow.
So, you don't want to be here twiddling your thumbs that whole time for a position that
you might not even get.
Yeah, exactly. I'm probably not going to get because there's interagency travel and everything. So, so my mindset's kind of started to shift towards more of the local route and looking at like police academy and or still the military route as well. But I think it's important that you recognize going into your job search that you might not be going down, you might not get on that career path that you set out for right away. And you got to continue to develop the skills that they're looking for. Because obviously as a college graduate, I don't have the tactical skills that necessarily that, these 20-year veterans have that are applying for the same job. So you got to be sure to continually develop skills and find different ways to do that.
Yeah. So I would like to expand a little bit more on the kind of like the list that you're making. How did you narrow down, I want to go here, I want to go there, or I want to go federal? Because I know a lot of people, they get too stuck on, I want to go to, for me, accounting. It's usually the Big Four, and they get stuck up on the Big Four, and they don't look at other great firms outside of the Big Four. So where do you kind of put like your dream list, kind of like the unicorn that you want to catch, but there's no way you'll ever get it? On maybe like on a whim, you somehow get the job, and then how do you put like the one and the two realistic, and then so on and so forth? Like, what was the process with that?
So I'm still obviously going through that process, and that was the same thing when I talked with a special agent from the FBI. She said, "Don't be so one-track minded with this, because it is such a difficult thing, and you want to expand your horizons because they're not necessarily looking for that particular thing. They want to see different experiences, not necessarily just based on that career track." So I'm still like expanding on that right now. And sorry, I just ran for it. Repeat the question.
Just like how do you make like a list? Because I know lots of people get stuck up on like the dream list and then their realistic list.
So going through those jobs on the websites and everything, you'll see the postings like. There's obviously always that special agent job that, that's personally at the top of my list, is that job, right?
Yeah.
You can put in an application for that. I mean, even if you meet the minimum requirements, and you should, in my opinion. It takes time away from those other jobs that you should be looking at that are listed as like recent graduates that don't have that, necessarily the experience that you might not have or might have already at that point. So you just don't want to waste your time with applications that aren't gonna most likely follow through. And I've done a couple of those. I put one in for an environmental scientist because I'm interested in that, but looking back, I'm like, well, that was pointless.
It's like the cheesy quote. It's like if you shoot for the stars, you at least hit the moon.
Right. And so you hit that point where you're just like you're scrolling through and you're like, oh shoot, I see that sounds interesting. Let's do that. But then you're like, wait a minute.
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe
right. That's probably not for me as much as I'd like to. But it's you always want to put in those applications for the job that you're looking, that ultimate career goal. But you also have to be reasonable with jobs. You're going to have to take a starter job at some point most likely.
And there's something too that we're so young that we can try new things and take an environmental science job when we were a criminal justice major because maybe you end up loving it. And even if you don't, so you wasted a year of your time, but you learned so many new things. You didn't really waste it. It's just a little different path.
Right. No, and that's what they're looking for. And then this goes across any job too. Yeah. They want to see you actively trying to develop new skills that might not necessarily be relevant to what you're applying for, but you're still willing to start something new and develop new skills, which is always a positive.
Yeah. It's awesome.
tell us a little bit how you've been able to leverage the internship that you mentioned with Akron PD and the job search.
Yeah, so obviously, internship when you're in college is one of the best things you can do. It's highly recommended, but anyone, I would say, you got to take advantage of those. But you network a lot through those positions, and especially I was blessed with going to Akron, which is a very large department. There's a lot of different relations that they have there, and they're always willing to help too. Like it's not like once you're done with your internship, you're cut off. You know, I would venture to say that this is, and any internship you go to, you got to maintain those relationships, and they're always willing to help. And I still get, I'll still text my old advisor there and everything, be like, hey, just checking in, see how things are going, and then they'll give me heads ups on any positions that are opening, or they'll set me up with different meetings. I met with old advisor or old officer from the department who just had a bunch of knowledge and experience that can just benefit me, even though it's not a job. It's still, you're still learning from this guy who's had a bunch of experience. So you just gotta. That internship was extremely valuable with my time there, and still is, obviously. With, like I said, being a department that big, they got people everywhere at this point.
It's awesome.
So, switching gears a little bit, being a recent college grad that hasn't found a full-time position in the field of study yet, how's it been living with your parents again? That's something that we don't talk about. But
no,
it's
people don't want it. It's a heavy reality for a lot of people. And at first you're like, all right, it's a smart decision.
It is 100%.
You're not having to pay rent for the most part. Maybe you do. You're not having to pay rent, and your loans haven't hit yet necessarily because your grace period hasn't ended yet. And you get to those home cooked meals.
That's what I was waiting for. That's what I was waiting for.
Exactly. But it's definitely an adjustment. And I'm at that point right now where I'm ready to kind of get out of there a little bit. Not, it's a love-hate thing. You don't really want to, but at a certain point you're going to have to.
For sure.
It's an adjustment still, because you're an adult now at this point. You're not a teenage self. You're an adult, and for the most part, my parents respect that too. They don't hold me. They don't necessarily treat me like a child. I got to pull my own weight there too, and everything, clean, cooking, doing chores and stuff. But they also respect. They don't try to hold me in on the weekends or something like that. They're like, go live your life. For sure. They want to see you succeed and have a social life. So,
that's what I'll be doing once I graduate and get my job. I'll be living with my parents. I mean, it's
there's a stigma with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so much that you can do with it. I mean, if your parents are willing to give you that opportunity to live with them, I would almost always take it at least at the onset. If it doesn't work out for you, because I'll be driving 40 minutes every day from my parents' house, so we'll see how that works out. But the economic benefits that you get from it, like the money you save, like you could save, like we talked about my brother. Like a couple weeks ago, he's saving up for a ring. He's living with my parents. Like that's something you could buy
for sure,
rather than paying for rent or a down payment on a home. I mean, you name it, literally anything.
I mean, think about it. So, say an average apartment's $500 a month in rent. It doesn't include your own internet, your own utilities, or anything like that. So, say you're paying $800 a month. Now you times that by 12. You're looking at $9,600 a year. That's a lot of things you could do with that. You could start investing that money, set yourself up for the future. Like you mentioned, get a down payment going. So if you have that relationship with your parents and it makes sense for where you want to be working, then go home. Save that money.
Don't be ashamed of it. No. Like most people are like, I got to live with my parents. No, dude, that's one, it's a lot more normal than you think. And two, it's the right financial decision.
100%. There's hold on, I got a stat here. Where is it? 63% of recent graduates are back living with their parents. So it's not like it's not like people aren't doing it. So don't feel like you're the only one going home.
I mean, as an adult, you don't want to say I still live with my parents, but you just graduated college. You know?
Right.
You're searching for a job and everything. It's not like you're just bumming off of them.
Right, and
I hope
mean,
not,
even if you do, even if you do have a job, I mean, 63%. There's got to be a percentage in there that does have full time.
Yeah.
Just because you have the money doesn't mean you should spend the money.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
even if you do have a full time job, don't think this.
pressured.
Yeah, don't think that this isn't for you. Because even if you do, save up for a little bit. My brother has a full time job. He's living with my parents to save up for a ring and a down payment. So just think about this, chew on it, and if it works best for you and your parents are willing to help you out, always take advantage of that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I've got a buddy that's I think he's 25 now. Still lives at home. He did the whole started college, never finished. Wasn't really thinking it was for him. Tried a couple different majors, racked up some student debt, but never got a degree. Thought about going to ministry school, and then eventually settled on the railroad. So now he's making 50+ K a year, but he's still living at home with his parents because he's paying down his debt.
Yeah.
He also tore his ACL not too long ago, so he had medical bills there. So paying those off, living at home, those are things that would be significantly harder if he would have gone out and got his own place just because he had a full-time job. So like you were saying, just because you have a job doesn't mean that living at home, if you have that relationship, isn't for you.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying live with your parents forever, right? Eventually you grow up and get a family and whatnot, but it can be a good way to start your financial life.
Yeah. And I was going to add something on top of your friend. Sounds just like one of my friends, too.
Really?
Yeah. But I would also add, I mean, some people don't have if their parents are sick or something like that, maybe they want to live at home. Like, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's like if you got to take care of your parents or your family, something along those lines makes complete sense as well.
Yeah.
No.
Well.
Yeah. Well, Andy, I didn't know if Brandon had anything else to ask you, but yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Thank you for your time, and I'm sure this will help out a lot of people.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like we said, this is your situation is really the average recent grad situation.
Right,
So,
right.
It's very common. You hear a lot of the success.
You're the 63%.
Right.
So.
You hear the success stories, which is what
yeah.
that'll get highlighted. But you don't hear the normal story.
Yeah,
I guess for the most part.
So
Yeah.
even if for nothing else, at least now our audience will know they're not the only ones in their situation.
No,
Yeah, you're a
don't be
little
ashamed
older,
of it
you're a little
either.
wiser, so we figured we'd ask you.
Right.
Yes.
Just continue to develop skills and move on.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. All right. Thanks, Andy. We appreciate you showing up on Cashing Out with the Kids today. This has been another episode, and we really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this content, please, please, please do share it. We're on Apple Podcasts now, Spotify. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe to our blog. We're putting out a lot of great content there. And thank you again.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Andy.
Appreciate it, Andy.